YouTube vinyl community, Beatles fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we're here today to talk about the October 13th, 1980 release, the Beatles Ballads, released around the world, basically everywhere except for America. And pretty much because Capitol saw no reason to put it out in America. They just put out the love songs set 2 or 3 years before this one, and half of this album is on that album, so they saw no reason to put this thing out. I really enjoy this album primarily for the cover. I mean, obviously the music on it is fantastic and every song's a knockout smash, but um, the cover is so cool because this was the original cover idea for A Doll's House, which eventually became the White Album, but this could have been the album cover in 1968, which is pretty sweet. And I'm not really sure what's going on here. It kind of looks like three of the guys are ready to go out sailing in the 1930s and Ringo's wearing a suit, but everyone else is dressed up, ready to go on a boat ride. And you get these crazy animals looking at them, and George is holding a rabbit with a collar on, and there's a couple rabbits, but butterflies everywhere. I'm not really sure how this represents ballads. I would have thought maybe like pictures of like the Beatles with girls or their wives or something. That would have been a little bit more appropriate maybe, but it's a really far out picture, and it almost feels slightly inspired by Smiley Smile. So who knows? We'll never know. The back cover is also great, loaded with animal imagery, because when I think of ballads, I think of tigers and rabbits. But anyways, this thing came out, and it's never been issued on CD. It came out on record and cassette at the time. Went to #1 in Australia for a number of weeks, which is pretty cool. Peaked at number 17 in the UK, and of course never came out in America. All the songs are their original 60s stereo mix, except for Norwegian Wood, which is the love song mix from 1977. And 4 songs on this album had their channels reversed. Yesterday, You've Gotta Hide Your Love Away, She's Leaving Home, and Here, There, and Everywhere have their channels reversed for some reason. It was also released in South Korea, where the song Norwegian Wood had been censored and banned until 1993, so the song Girl was on there instead. But, 1980 was a pretty cool year to be a Beatles fan in the early part of the year, until John unfortunately was murdered. But, as far as releases go, the Rarities album came out in America, so that was great for the American audiences to have something new, especially to see the Butcher cover on the inside. That must have been pretty cool. And the Beatles box came out, which is one of the best sounding Beatles box sets ever made, apparently. I've never heard it myself, but everyone I've talked to online or read about or watched videos about has raved about that thing. It's the box that looks like a crate. Really would love to get my hands on that thing someday, but there's really not much to add here about this album beyond the fact that it just carries the theme of themes. And in the late 70s, they had the rock and roll music album, they had the love songs album, and then this thing came out, 20 Greatest Hits came out, the Rarities album, Real Music, which had music from their movies. So this was a time of repackaging the Beatles and trying to introduce them to a new audience, I suppose, or for the core audience that was there in the 60s to have a collection of some of their favorite songs in one package. And this record in particular is fascinating because this could be a double album set, but it's just one single LP. And they actually get Hey Jude on here in full, which is pretty surprising with all these other songs on here. So pretty cool feat, if you will. Here's a close-up of the back cover. What's also interesting to note is that around this time, in the late 70s, there was going to be another couple compilation albums that Capitol were thinking about putting out. A country album, which would have had like Act Naturally, What Goes On, some stuff like that. I can't imagine they would have gotten much out of that besides a single LP. And a one about girls, whether it was about their names or just a song about girls. They could have made a 3 album set about something like that because most of their songs are about girls. So obviously those albums never came out, and we got this one instead. But I mean, it's a fantastic set. There's you got Yesterday, Norwegian Wood, Do You Want to Know a Secret? I can go on, but there's a couple of songs that I was a little bit about when it comes to being a ballad. Well, I guess She's Leaving Home is more of a ballad. It's on the Love Songs album, which doesn't make any sense, but yeah, it makes more sense here. All My Loving, it's a little stretchy. It's more of a pop rock kind of song, but I get the sentiment there. Nowhere Man, yeah, I suppose. I mean, there's nothing wrong with any of these songs, and the sequencing actually works pretty well, I have to admit. They did a good job putting the songs from different generations of the band together as one album. Works out pretty well. So let me show you what the inside here looks like. Also, across the universe is the World Wildlife Federation version, which is pretty sweet. So it's nice to have that somewhere on an LP. But we got an original 1980 Parlophone label. side 2. And unfortunately, I do not have the original inner sleeve, so I have no idea what that looks like. So I'm using these MoFi sleeves, which work out really well. Hey, MoFi, send me free stuff. And that's it. I mean, there's not much to say about this thing besides that it exists. It was part of the era where they were putting out anything Beatles related as a compilation, finding some sort of theme and putting out music to introduce them and keep them modern and keep them current, which is a bizarre concept at this point. But at that time, you know, there's interviews with Paul McCartney around 1980 where people would come up to him, little kids and stuff, say, hey, you're the Moleskine Tire guy, not even knowing who the Beatles were. So, you know, I guess it was just a way to keep the Beatles in the public eye and, you know, make some pretty interesting stuff. I would love to see, like, a nice digipack version of love songs, the rock and roll music sets, this one. You know, like nice CD versions would be really cool. They're completely unnecessary, but for the collector in me and for a lot of other people, I think it'd be fun to have these on CD or even like a reissued kind of set. Because in America, this album's pretty hard to find. In everywhere else in the world, I'm sure it's super common and probably in the cheapo bin. But over here in America, this thing's pretty obscure. So, oh, there's writing vaguely at the top. What does that say? Oh, so when someone put the sticker on it, and then wrote the price on top of the sticker on top of the record. Instead of writing the price on the sticker first, then putting it on, they put it on and then wrote it on the album. Dumb move. But anyway, this is it. Beatles Ballads, 10 out of 10, no doubt, easy. Not much to say. Just curious to hear your thoughts about it. Wanted to show it off. I just love this album cover so much. Spend some time looking at this picture if you find some time. There's a lot to look at there. And that's it. 10 out of 10. My name is Giggens. This has been the Beatles Ballads. And take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.